Hari Om. The 18th and 19th shloka is under consideration. But the opening line, the opening word, na eva tasya, it clearly indicates that the description now that is happening is not of an ordinary man. It is of tasya. Tasya means one who is rejoicing in self, atma rata. We are miles or perhaps light years away from self-realization. So for us to even imagine what a self-realized state is beyond comprehension. The only recourse left is to catch hold of the experiences so narrated by the realized soul themselves and have complete faith in them as to what they are speaking. The shloka says, such an atmarataha has na eva, not at all, kruten artha. That means there is a na eva artho, na eva artha. What is artha? The artha is every action that is done by the very definition is supposed to create a phalam out of it. Otherwise, it is not an action at all. In fact, there is a beautiful narration of the karma and karma phala. There cannot be akruta abhyagama and there cannot be kruta pranasha. In simpler words, what is not done cannot produce a result, and what is done cannot remain without the result. Done can't perish, never done can't flourish. Akruta abhyagama, kruta pranasha is not possible. So krutena artho, that means a atmarata, when he does a kruti, karma, na artho. What are the artho or arthaha of any karma? In a very large and broad classification, every karma has only two types of results. Rest all is paraphernalia, the classification. The two major categories are either it is a preyas or it is a shreyas. Either it is for prosperity, abhyudaya, or it is for muktata, moksha, liberation. The question with Atmarata is, neither he aspires for liberation because he is liberated, and one who is liberated has no prosperity to achieve, so there is no prosperity required. And because the Sreyash is also achieved, Preyas is no more left, then what is left? Narthaha. That is the reason why an Atmarata has no need. Artha has been defined as two things. Gurudeva has given it as interest, no interest. Madhusudan Saraswati calls no need. There's a slight difference. No interest, no need. He neither has interest nor the need in the karma. Then what happens to the Jivan Mukta? He keeps doing the karma. What about that? He says, I'm not aware of it. Who does it? The body does it. Sir, the body is, I have already left the body miles behind. There is something here. People call me, they point at me as Swamiji so and so. But I don't know. I am not that. I have already left this body. Something, the way it is described in Upanishads is like the potter's wheel. Even after the potter has finished the work, the wheel keeps spinning for some time. So similarly, this body is working for some time, but it is not my body. It is a car that is just moving forward without the driver. That being the state, the person is no more interested in performing any action because there is no need for him. Now comes the question. The curious person and a studious student of Vedanta will ask, sir, what about the Nitya Karma? If he is a Brahman or if he is a Savarna, if he is a Dvija, he has to perform Sandhya Vandanam. Now that he is liberated, he has stopped doing it, he will incur sin because Nitya Karma, if not performed, there will be sin. No, sir. Akrutena api kaschan. Even akrut also, non-performance. Not only performance is to be given up because there's no need. Even non-performance of essential duties, nitya karma, that also does not incur any kind of sin to him or phalam to him. That is why Atmarata's condition is of this type. Then, if there is no karma, the karma involves a subject and an object and a relation between subject and object. Since all the things are dissolved, nacha asya sarva bhuteshu kaschit artha vyapashraya. Artha hi nahi bacha. There is no artha left. Why would there be any dependence or a relationship or coordination with anything that is in the world, including the world? As they say, everything under the sun, including the sun, is irrelevant now. Then what does he do? He doesn't do anything. Doing happens to him till the body is there, till he's embodied. And when he's not embodied, even then, as Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Devas do not have a right to ask him any question, what to talk of anyone else. Then what he does? He only, by his divine nature, exudes compassion and the inherent, inbuilt divine desire of welfare of everybody is only left him. Such a big philosophy has been enumerated in a small couplet by Kabir Maharaj. He says, Atmarata is like this. Kabira khada bazar mein मांगे सबकी खैर, ना ही किसी से दोस्ती, ना ही किसी से बैर. He is not friend of anyone. He is not enemy of anybody. Because, as Gurudeva rightly said, the objects of the world in any case are essentially nothing other than the subject being tossed on the waves of agitations of mind. What a golden statement. The whole world is existing in the mind. And it is existing in the mind because mind is agitating, vritti. Vrittaya Panchataya. In the 5 forms of vrittis, the mind keeps agitating, the world is created. But since the Atmarata, the one who is rejoicing the self, has already committed the suicide of mind, as Gurudeva calls it. When the mind is not existing, how can the world exist? That is why Kabir Maharaj says, for an Atmarata, ye dunya कागज की पुड़िया बूंद पड़े घुल जाना है. Moment you are atmarata, this thin paper called world is going to be dissolved. And this is described because in Madhusudan Saraswati's commentary, which is very, very normally precise and terse, now goes into a big expansion for this particular shloka, because this shloka is pointing towards the avastha of a jnanavanta, the atmarata, in what state he is. And those avasthas are called avasthas of jnana. And there are sapta jnanavastha. Once one starts in the journey of jnanam, he rises through 7 stages. The first of which is Shubhecha, the burning desire and earnestness to reach the self. Then the jnanam expands further to Vicharana. Vicharana is to remain in this state, to keep the buddhi in the state of upward movement towards the higher realms of consciousness, towards the jnanam, is a vicharana. Such a mind which is purified and focused towards the upward realms of consciousness, then enters into the 3rd stage of jnanam called tanumanasi. The tanumanasi is tanvata. Tanya is to make it fine, loose. The mind becomes very fine. Fine mind means vrittis are reduced. Ekagramana, moving towards niruddhata, completely away from tossing, from chanchalata, moving towards ekagrata. And once that fine mind starts entering into the samadhi avastha of yoga shastra, or the jnana kramana of jnana yogi, then in one such golden moment of concentrated mind, a glimpse of self is seen by the sadhaka. That glimpse, once it is seen, is never sublated. And that glimpse is called sattvapatti. Commonly, a person who is in sattvapatti is called brahmavit, self-realized. When this brahmavit then tries to get into nirvikalpa samadhi, the state of nirvikalpa samadhi is the 5th avastha of jnanam called asama shakti. In this asama shakti, the whole gamut of relationship with the world is over. And such asama shakti person, once he crosses sattvapatti, he becomes brahmavid. When he becomes brahmavid, now if he has to be brought down from this avastha, he himself can come down. He doesn't require anybody's effort, but he is able to go into self and back into the Maya. So the journey between two absolutely compartmentalized world now starts. A Brahmavit, which is at Asama Shakti level, can come into the Mayavi world and perform his function. And again, when he desires, he can go back to that, because the road is now open for him. This is Brahmavid Avastha. Gurudeva was one step beyond this. What is the next step? In the next step, the non-relationship is replaced by no relationship, the absence of relationship to the entire world. This is called Padartha Bhavani. In Padartha Bhavani Jnanavastha, the person cannot come down, he has to be waken up. This is what happened to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. This is what happened to Vivekananda. To come down from this state, Vivekananda used to normally do up his coat while watching in the mirror, because he could not see his face in the mirror. Miss Waldo, who was accompanying Vivekananda in New York, she thought Vivekananda is trying to see how he looks in the mirror. So she teased Vivekananda, saying that, Gurudev, Swamiji, you also see yourself in the mirror to look how beautiful you are. And with a serious tone, Vivekananda said, no, I am trying to see why I am not able to see my face in the mirror. Sir, this is called Padartha Bhavani Avastha. And such a person is called Brahmavid Vara. Now you understand in the morning when we say Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram, it is the place of Gurudeva. And the last and the seventh avastha of Jnanam is Turiya avastha, which is called Brahma Vidvarishtham. Was Gurudeva not Brahma Vidvarishtha? He was not, because we wanted him. If he would have been Brahma Vidvarishtha, no Gita Jnana Yajnam, dissolved. By becoming Brahma Vidvara, he was able to keep himself at a level. For us, he came down, because we are at a too down a level, we are downtrodden. Because the Brahma Vidvar is in a completely different avastha called, a Sufi describes it in a beautiful word. ना मकाम जुस्तजू है, मुझे बेखुदी ये तूने भली चासनी चखाई. The situation of Jnana Avastha being like this, the fourth avastha of Sattvapatti, or the avastha of Brahmavit itself, there is no karma left. What to talk of the remaining avastha? As Madhusudan Saraswati Maharaj says, Na eva artho atmarataha tasya atmarataha na arthaha krutena akrutena khabare tahayyure ishq sun. Listen, oh, the story of my eternal love. Please listen. Khabare tahayyure ishq sun, na junu raha na pari rahi. There is nothing left for me to do, nor the one who is tossing his left. Both are gone. Na junu raha na pari rahi. Jo rahi so be khabari rahi. What is left is, nothing is left. Kabir Maharaj was in this Brahma Vidvarishtha Avastha. Whenever he used to come down, he used to sing the dohas. They were all divine inspired dohas. And there he describes his extemporally, divinely, he explains his avastha, which is this particular avastha of padartha bhavani. Aunga na jaunga, marunga na jiunga. चुरा के सबद प्याला हरी रस पीऊंगा, कहत कबीर सुनो मेरी लोई, हम ना किसी के हमरा न कोई. There is no relation, no work, nothing left for me. Such a person is called free. The real freedom is this. Rest, everything is dependence. Even the samadhi is dependence. The thin thread of dependence still exists even in Savikalpa Samadhi. It is only at Dharma Megha or Nirvikalpa Samadhi that the last tantalus thread is cut asunder. And then you are a free floating soul. This is what Gurudeva says, depending upon nothing, neither any being nor any object. And why he is not dependent on anything? Because only one cannot depend on the second, because the second is not existing. To depend, you require two. Dvitiyadvaya bhayam. Because there are not two, there is no fear. For fear to exist, there has to be two. Vibhurvyapyata. Tadhavato anyan atyeti. He runs faster than the mind. Nainan devan apnuman. Not to be caught by the indriyas. Indriya tita. Kalpana tita. Prayatna tita. Tvam yogino dhayanti nityam. That is what yogis are always striving for. That avastha, that uniqueness, that ekameva dvitiya brahman is what Lord Ganesha you are. That is what the Athara Shirsha says. All subjective feelings are essentially objective in nature. A sentence that needs to be pondered upon. All subjective feelings are essentially objective in nature, because what a subject thinks is nothing else but the object that is perceived in the mind. Neither the object exists, nor the object has any attributes. They are all ascribed by the mind. The mind that is constantly in the endeavor of ascribing different objectivities to the things around, and then such plethora, exuberance of all this ascription leading to formation of a kaleidoscope which we call a world. So we do not exist in the world exists in me. And in me, there is only one place where it exists, that is my mind, the antakarana. And the ability of antakarana to conceive the world. We normally feel we perceive the world. No, we first conceive the world, then we perceive it. We conceive the world on the substratum of antakarana and not on any other part of the body, because the antakarana is endowed with enormous power of consciousness called chidabhasa. This chidabhasa gets completely and constantly engaged in the world that we have produced, from where it needs to be withdrawn. And after withdrawing it, after complete withdrawal of the mind, antakarana, from the world that itself has conceived, the mind ceases to exist. Such a mind which is still, tranquil, with pristine purity, lying precisely unfluttered, is the mind which is a dead mind. This so-called dead mind is dead to the world, but extremely alive and vibrating and kicking towards the consciousness. This mind, then, the same mind which was making the short sorties inside this limited world, now starts going upwards towards the higher realms of consciousness and starts making long and huge and tall sorties towards the sky. These huge and humongous sorties of mind, which is pristine, pure and concentrated, is the one which leads towards the avasthas or the steps of jnanam. As the steps of jnanam are achieved, at around the fourth step of sattva apatti, the self is smelt. Self is realized. At one golden moment, the connection with the world is severed, and a connection with the self is established. And that happens ek samaya vachede, yugapat, at one time. That is the moment which is described as kasmin bhagavo vijnate sarvam vidam vijnato bhavati. What is that? When once understood, there is nothing left to understand. This is the moment. This is the moment that happened to Siddhartha Gautam Buddha under the tree. This is what happened to Mahavira. This is what happened to n number of Jivan Muktas during their great journey, arduous journey, which they had taken for umpteen number of births. Tukaram Maharaj says, Yachaसाठी केला होता अट्टहास, शेवटचा दिस गोड व्हावा. I did all these efforts, human efforts, because I wanted my last day to be sweet. This is the sweet moment of a yogi's life. This is the sweet moment of a bhakta's life. This is the sweet moment of a jnani's life. This is the sweet moment of the karma yogi's life. This is rungli rungli all. Thus far and no further. Once done, once for all. This is the journey from blister to the bliss. There is no journey left beyond this. No more effects. No more cause and effect. Because the cause of all causes is realized. That being the background of the shloka says, for such an atmarata, tasya, the word tasya is what is holding the key. Tasya means atmarata, not anyone else. The one who is saparyagat shukram, avranam, asnaviram, shuddham, apapavidham, kavir manishihi, paribhuhu, swayambhuhu. These are all descriptions of that avastha. The Upanishads, whatever they are uttering, and these utterances of the Upanishads have come from these great souls who had upgraded themselves up towards beyond Sattvapatti, and then by sheer luck of all the people in the world, they came down from the avastha, from the Padartha Bhavani, as well as from the Asama Shakti. They came down, and moment they came into the world of Maya, or this so-called worldly consciousness, they uttered few words. Those words were, it is like a person who had just eaten the most delicious fruit in the world is now describing the happiness. While describing the happiness, he may use the words which we, you and me may not understand, because these are exclamations called divine exclamations. And that is the reason why most of the bija mantras carry those words like Om Ganganapate Namaha, Glom, Om. They are not words. That is the appearance of word forms coming through the mouth of a yogi or a muni or a rishi who has descended from the higher realms of consciousness. And when he descends down, since he has already achieved what is to be achieved in human life, there is nothing left for him to be done. Such a person is called Ativarnashrami. And Ativarnashrami has no rules of any varna. And Nitya Karma, Naimittik Karma is a rule for Varnashrami, Dvijas. He is Ativarnashrami. He has gone beyond the Varnas. Now, sir, there cannot be any sin that can be incurred by him, even if he fails to perform or performs anything. In either case, nothing attaches to him. That is because he is now a swimmer who can swim in the lake, and yet the body will not get wet, because he has the covering of self-realization all around his skin. खुशरो दरिया प्रेम का वाकी उल्टी धार, जो उतरा सो डूब गया, जो डूब गया सो पार. It is that lake where the jnani takes a dip. The dip leads to sinking, but the one who sinks is the one who has crossed the lake. That is the mystery. And that is why Gurudeva says that the dependence can be lost, or one can confidently say that I am not dependent, provided he is a jnani. If he is not, then this shloka does not apply to him. And since Arjuna, you are yet to reach that stage. Had you reached that stage, you wouldn't have asked me, should I be killing Duryodhana or not? Should I be fighting with Kauravas or not? And because you have not reached to that stage, wherefore, let me come back down again from the Jnanavastha to a Mudhavastha in which you are, and let me give you an advice. Tasmat asaktaha satatam karya karma samachara. Tasmat, that is why? That is why? Because you are not Atmarata. So I am telling you, in other words, Bhagavan Vasudeva is pointing one finger to Arjuna and 1,000 fingers to us, saying that Tasmat, oh, the one who are reading the Gita, become asakta. And asakta means immediately you will feel, let me give up. Sir, how many things you will give up? You cannot. Giving up is not asakti. Not being in it is asakti. The family, nakanta mukhe naiva vitteshu chittam. That is fine. So does that mean na kanta mukhe, tomorrow I will leave my kanta? It cannot happen. But being with kanta and yet asakta, Ramakrishna Paramahansa was married, but he was not with the wife. The sentence appears pretty ridiculous. He was the only married saint who was never with the wife. He called his wife as Sahacharini, the one who does what the husband does. What was the husband doing? Atmarata. So what was she? Atmarati. That is why she was called Jagat Janani. This is called asakti. Being in the world, getting married, yet not in marriage. That is asakti, not running away. So satatam, no relaxation, aram haram hai. Mahatma Gandhi used to say. Bapu was every single movement involved in karma. Satatam. Satatam karyam karma samachara. Achara, no, samachara. Equanimity. Samacharanam asaktaha. Asakto hi acharan karma param apnoti. After all, what are you doing? Trying to achieve something. What is all our efforts, all struggles we are doing for what? It's a different story that we are so blind that we don't know what we want. That's a very miserable state of ours. But supposing that we want something, what do we? More wealth, more fame, yasha karti, yasha kirti, satta, sampatti, pratishtha, what more? All this you want for what? I want parama, maximum. What is maximum? In Kathopanishada, so many maximums were given by Dharmaraja, Yamaraj to Nachiketa. All the Trikhanda Vishwa, or you be king of everything. Everything, all will be your under control. All Panchamahatma, all. Still, there is still a Parama left. What is Parama? Parama is Purushaha, the Brahman. The word Purush is used for the man purpose here. Purishete iti Purushaha. That city in which consciousness dwells is called Purusha. That Purusha's maximum apnoti, achievement, will be complete provided is asakta. It's a bit of a weird statement. It is like saying that the one who wants to achieve maximum should not desire anything. On one hand, you say you want to achieve maximum, and on the other hand, should not have any desire. How can you achieve maximum without having even desire? But the clue lies in that. And the clue is, जिनको कछु नहीं चाहिए वही शहनशाह. Not desiring itself, not desiring makes you far more authoritative. When Alexander went to meet this Dionysius, he told him, asked him, what do you want? I can give you anything that you want. I can even hang you. He said, can you just be a little bit on the side because the sun is not coming on my body? That's all I want from you. Who is bigger, Alexander or the philosopher who was staying in a tunnel without any clothes? Who is great? When Baba Farid, when Samrat Akbar came to meet, everybody, all his disciples said to Baba Farid that, Baba, ask something. We don't have much money left for us in the Kanak, in the hermitage. There is no money. There is a problem with the food, and the Akbar Bacha is coming. Ask something. He said, no, there's no need to ask. No, ask something. He said, okay, I will ask. I will ask in the night. And he didn't ask. So all the disciples came and asked, Khwaja, you did not ask anything. He said, no, I saw him. He was praying in the evening. He was praying namaz and he was asking to the Lord something. Then I realized that if this beggar is asking something there, how can a beggar give me anything? The one who can give something is the one who doesn't have any desire. And that is the reason the asaktaha is the person. What would the entire brothel do to a man like Swami Vivekananda? He went in Egypt and by mistake while talking, he along with the four ladies, they entered into the red light area. What can these red light areas do to a monk like Swami Vivekananda? The reverse effect happened. They saw Swami Vivekananda and started saying, "Oh, my brother, oh God, eh, Dio de hombres, Dio de hombres." They were Spanish. "Oh, God man, God man." And they started touching his feet. Asaktaha. For this asakti, a beautiful Sakhi is there of Kabir. A guru is asking Guru Dakshina, a disciple who has achieved self-realization, Atmarata, is folding his hands and asking Gurudeva, Gurudev, ask something as Guru Dakshina. I want to give you something. Imagine the disciple himself is Atmarata. Naturally, the Guru is Brahmavid. Brahmavad Varishta maybe. So one Brahmavid is asking to another Brahmavid. Maybe something like Swamiji asking Tapovan Maharaj ki, what can I give you for Guru Dakshina? And because underlining this asakti, see the reply that is given. Mere Guru ne bhedan bhed batayo. Now he's asking the Guru Dakshina. Pehli bhiksha anna ki lana. गाव नगरिया पास न जाना, हिंदू तुर्क छोड़ के लाना, लाना झोली भर के. O disciple, as a Guru Dakshina, bring me a bhiksha, but bring it from a person who is not staying in Gaon and Nagar, in village or any town. And please bring it from a person who is neither Hindu and nor Muslim or nor any particular jati. That means what? Don't bring anything. Because there is nothing that you can give me. I am asakta. दूसरी भिक्षा मास की लाना, जीव जंतु के पास न जाना, जिंदा मुर्दा छोड़ के लाना, लाना खप्पड़ भर के. Hey disciple, go and get some flesh for me, some meat for me, but get it from the, don't go to a place where there is jiva and jantu. There is a live thing, don't go there. How can you get meat if there is no live thing? Jinda murda chhod ke lana. Bring it from somebody who is neither alive nor dead. That means I don't need anything. Tisri bhiksha jal ki lana, kuwa bawadi paas na jana. Tal talaiya chhod ke lana, lana tumbi bhar ke. Hey disciple, get me some water. Get it full of the pitcher, of the pot. Let the pot be filled by water, but get the water from a place where there is no lake, there is no well, there is no river, or there is no sea. Chauthi bhiksha lakadi lana. The fourth bhiksha, please bring me the wood. Sukhe vruksha ke paas na jana. Don't go to a tree which is dry. Gili sukhi chhod ke lana. Don't bring wet wood, don't bring dry wood. Lana gattar bhar ke. Bring too many things, bring too much to me. And then Kabir Maharaj says, Kehet Kabir suno bhai sadho ye pad nirvana, is pad ka jo arth kare, wahi chatur sujana. The one who understood this couplet has understood everything. And the whole understanding of the couplet is asakta hi acharan karmaha. Gurudeva says, that is the reason the change has to come from here. The change that is brought by the guns, the change that is brought by the sword and the spears is not what Hinduism does. The Vedanta doesn't believe in that. Proselytization is not the sign of Hinduism and shall never be and would never be. Because Hinduism believes in that Shastra, which is the only Shastra, call it by any name. That is the reason why a monk who represented Hinduism at the World Conference of Religion, Swami Vivekananda, said, I have come here not to preach you Hinduism, I have come here to take you to the land which goes beyond all the barriers of all the religions and creates a universal religion. That universal religion is the place of Vedanta. There is no other place possible other than Vedanta, howsoever brainstorming you may do, because it has already been done by thousands of rishis, and they have realized the self, and that is why they have given this Vedanta to us. Therefore, Gurudeva says, always perform actions. Now look at Gurudeva's word. Each word is important. Always, that means you should, without fail, always, without taking break. Perform actions, that means you must work, which are obligatory. WhatsApp is not obligatory. Cinema is not obligatory. Clubbing is not obligatory. The red colored drink in the glass is not obligatory. The beautiful clothes on the body are not obligatory. Gurudev says, perform always the actions which are obligatory in your present social status. Going for a conference, wear a jacket. Other than that, its function is not there. Present social status in your domestic situation, perform action. I am working at a meat shop where I am working as a butcher. Doesn't matter. It is required in your domestic situation. As a member of your community, don't isolate yourself. Do not throw things here and there, because uncleanliness made by me shall set an example for others, and then there will be humongous amount of waste disposal problem which we are already facing. Why? Because I have not taken only to obligatory things. I have collected so many things in my home, which then later on I throw, and then we call it as a digit wastage, because I had 3 laptops. Keep his mind away from all dangerous attachment. Krishna is repeating his warning to Arjuna that he must be careful in all his activities. Gurudeva is very kind. He is using word Krishna and Arjuna. Actually, Gurudeva's word translated in words which we can understand would be, oh, you stupid, mind your business, don't get attached, and bloody hell, keep yourself to things that are only required for you. This is what is the actual message. But kind Gurudeva is, he's a Swamiji, far compassionate, more compassionate. That's why he says, Krishna is telling Arjuna to keep his mind away from all dangerous attachment. And Gurudeva has used dangerous attachment. So for God's sake, let us get away with all those dangerous attachment. Which is the non-dangerous attachment? Attachment to the Lord. Safest attachment, sure attachment. The only person who will never deceive or cheat us is Lord. Other than that, anyone and everyone. Bin Sadguru yahan apno na koi, jo yahan raah dikhawe. Sai ki nagari param ati sundar, jahan koi aave na jave. That is why 2 shlokas have got enormous garbithartha, deep meaning. Let Gurudeva's blessings be with all of us to understand this in real spirit. And then we shall have a pride in our chest to call ourselves as humble sevaka of Gurudeva. Hari Om.